y'all, this is Anna Alexander, and here we are, opening weekend of the long-awaited Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And the funny thing was, this morning I had a Facebook memory pop up that exactly 6 years ago today, I dropped a review on Volume 2. I have been hopefully optimistic that this was going to be the MCU film that we have been waiting for. The last few entries have gone a bit sideways. Love and Thunder, Multiverse of Madness, Quantumanium just didn't seem to stick the landing. Was Volume 3 going to be the one to do it? I'm happy to report that I would give this a good solid 8.9. I've also discovered that I can do this with mostly no spoilers, as spoiler-free as possible, because I don't have to explain why I didn't enjoy it in detail. Fancy that! Fancy that! So the two things I do want to impart that I think are most important. Number one is this film has a kick-ass soundtrack. It is amazeballs. And then the second thing is this movie has a kick-ass, so badass soundtrack. It will be a must for me to collect. The music moves the movie. Sometimes the music kind of overshadows what's going on. And my one, I guess you would say, complaint about the whole thing has nothing to do with the movie itself and the theater that I was in. It was just too loud. There's just some points where it was just so loud you couldn't hear or see. And then when the chaos ensued, as it does with all space science fiction-y movie fight scenes, chaos, super loud soundtrack, it became a little bit overwhelming. No fault of the movie. I believe it's totally the fault of the theater I was in, only because afterwards, when I had to run to the restroom, Dolby Theater was next door, and it was so loud I could hear it in the bathroom, and it was shaking the walls. So why I would give Volume 3 an 8.9 is because for me, it was just a slow start. It took a good third of the film before it kind of found its legs and started running. But we started with the premise. We had the High Evolutionary. We found out his whole thing is just to create the perfect society, and Rocket was part of those experimentations. We find out that the Sovereigns, who are the gold people in Volume 2, are also one of the High Evolutionary's creations. And so when he had found out that they knew Rocket existed and never told him, they send out Adam Warlock to go collect Rocket so that the High Evolutionary can do more experimentation on him. Rocket's injured, so the rest of the film is the crew trying to get what they need to save Rocket's life. So a good portion of the film, Rocket's not part of the gang. He's incapacitated, and we're just seeing his backstory. Yeah, we get Rocket's backstory, and I can describe it in 3 words, which is Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Oh my. Tragic isn't a word. It's horrifying. It's just on a level of fucked up. And then when you add Lila and Teefs and Floor, I'm afraid I might have nightmares about Floor because, so not having Rocket really be part of the action was interesting. It wasn't for me until the gang got to Counter Earth where the movie really kicked off, and then it started to roll, and it felt more like a Guardians film. We also had a hallway fight scene that for me ranks right up there in some of the best hallway fight scenes ever. I just want to rewatch that again, only because it was so much going on, I couldn't focus, and I know that there was a lot of little details that I missed, and I want to see them and enjoy them again. So I would say the theme of the film was just coming to terms with who you are as a person on your own individual. Who was Peter on his own? Who was Mantis on her own? Who was Drax on his own? There is a scene that is just heartbreaking with Mantis and Nebula and Drax when they're talking about how they really feel about Drax. And it's just so painful. It's so sad and painful. So that really does kind of close and bookend the 3 films because they've started that journey. Some of them are further along in the journey than others, but you can say, okay, this is where we are, this is where we're heading, and it's not going to involve you as the audience in the rest of our story, which is sad, but she was also kind of uplifting as well. We did get introduced again to the character of Adam Warlock, and for a good almost the entire film, I wasn't sure what his purpose was. Like, why did he need to be there? They also made him a lot less. Is he that unintelligent in the comics? Or was that just, they explained it away as he was broken from his pod early and wasn't given a chance to fully develop. But wow. And really, it wasn't until an after credit scene where I'm like, okay, now this is how he fits in. So I don't know if we needed him as much, but every character got a moment to shine, which I enjoyed and I appreciated. Visually, it is a spectacle. There's things that you're like, why? How? Why? How? What were you smoking when you designed this thing? Also, it is, I don't want to say the crudest of the MCU films, but it's definitely, so it's got the most swear words, which for me, fine, but it's interesting that it has the most swear words. And there is some brutal, violent deaths. Like, I would say Winter Soldier was the most realistically brutal fight. This was comic-y book fight scenes, but like pile driving somebody into the earth from space level of There are also some sequence of events that occur that when you stop and really think about what has happened, it's disturbing as hell. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but if you've seen it and you stop and you think about the things that have happened and you're like, oh, that means, no. No, those the poor. So if you're taking the young kids, just be prepared. But overall, thoroughly enjoyed myself. Cannot wait to watch it again. We'll definitely get the soundtrack. I think you'll have a good time. Again, just sit through that first 20, 30 minutes. Once you get over that hump, the roller coaster will be on its way and you will have a good time. I'm excited also to hear what all of you think of the film as well and where you see some of these characters going in the future. Have we really seen the last of all of them? We know one's coming back for sure, but have we seen, are we going to see any others? I don't know. I'm excited to find out. So thank you so much for being with me for these few minutes. I do appreciate all the time you spend with me. Please take care of yourselves. This is also your reminder, if you haven't done so yet, go eat something, stretch your bodies, and then come back and see the next video in the queue. So thanks again, y'all, and until next time.